Pharaoh Thutmose III, an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, and the imaginary parables inspired by his wisdom. Courage shines brightest in the face of adversity. Manuel grew up in a small Spanish fishing village, spending his days as a fisherman. One early morning, he set out to sea, only to be caught in an unexpected storm. Giant waves rocked his boat, and the fishing net tangled in the propeller, creating a dire situation. His crewmates shouted, "Head back to the port. It's too dangerous." But Manuel resolved, "If we lose the net, we won't have any income tomorrow," and chose to dive into the raging sea. Untangling the net amidst the wild waves was no easy task. As the freezing water battered his body, Manuel's trembling hands slowly freed the net, finally releasing the propeller. His crewmates, amazed by his bravery, pulled him back on board, their applause and cheers filling the air. Back in the port, Manuel's story spread quickly, and he became a local hero. In an interview, he humbly said, "Courage isn't something extraordinary, it's the will to move forward in tough times." His actions inspired the village's young fishermen to take on their own challenges. One day, a young man, emulating Manuel, exclaimed, "I saved the net with my courage, too." Manuel chuckled and replied, "That's great, but try it on a calm day next time." Wise choices lead to victory. Carlos was the CEO of a rapidly growing startup in Barcelona. One day, he found himself in a competitive bidding war against a rival company. The competitor poured massive funds into securing the same deal. His employees unanimously urged, "We need to match their strategy and spend more." But Carlos hesitated, recalling his grandfather's words, "True winners forge their own paths." Taking a calculated risk, Carlos decided on a novel approach. Instead of relying on money, he focused on an honest presentation to earn the client's trust. Though his employees were apprehensive, Carlos reassured them, saying, "Let's trust this path. Our choices shape our future." In the end, the client chose Carlos's company, moved by his sincerity over the competitor's financial power. The news electrified the office, and the team celebrated with cheers. At the victory party, one employee joked, "We'll leave the next decision to you, Carlos." Laughing, Carlos responded, "How about you all think it through first?" Carlos's bold decision not only elevated the company, but also taught his team the importance of thoughtful choices. He himself continued to carry the weight of responsibility and leadership with pride. Patience illuminates the path to glory. In Seville, an artist named Lopez had pursued his dream of becoming a renowned painter for 20 years. His works, filled with intricate colors and daring compositions, remained largely unrecognized. Despite numerous rejections from galleries and art fairs, he kept painting day after day. His family and friends often said, "Maybe it's time to just make it a hobby." Undeterred, Lopez continued, painting through rain and shine. In his small studio, one day, he learned of a local art fair, featuring young talents, and decided to try once again. He selected the piece he had poured his heart into and submitted it, anxiously awaiting the results. To his astonishment, Lopez won the grand prize. The judges declared, "This painting captures 20 years of dedication." During his acceptance speech, he softly said, "Patience isn't just enduring, it's the guide to realizing your dreams." Lopez's story caught the attention of local media, and he became an overnight sensation. In an interview, when asked, "What kept you going for 20 years?" Lopez smiled and answered, "Patience became my best friend. Quitting would have been betraying that friendship." His tale inspired young artists across Seville, reigniting their pursuit of dreams, while Lopez continued creating with newfound vigor. Unity creates strength. In a Madrid flamenco school, 10 students were preparing for an important recital. The choreography was challenging, requiring flawless synchronization, but progress was slow. Mistakes interrupted rehearsals, and frustration grew. One student finally said, "This is impossible," and a mood of defeat began to take hold. That's when Marina, a natural leader, spoke up. "Listen, everyone, if we're not united, this dance means nothing. Let's help each other. What can do this?" Inspired by her passion, the group recommitted, offering advice and support to one another. laughing off mistakes, and practicing with renewed energy. On the night of the recital, their performance dazzled the audience. When the applause finally died down, the students embraced backstage, tears of joy streaming down their faces. Marina beamed and said, "I'm so glad we weren't alone in this." The others replied in unison, "Exactly." Their story didn't end there. The group, now known for their unity, went on to compete in regional dance contests under the name Fuerza Strength, earning a lasting reputation across Madrid. Failure is the gateway to learning. Jorge, a bright economics student at Granada's prestigious university, was known for his academic excellence. But one fateful day, he completely botched an exam in his best subject. When the professor returned his paper, Jorge's face turned pale. "I've failed," he murmured as he was summoned to the professor's office. "Jorge, I didn't expect this from you," said the professor, hanging his head. Jorge replied, "I'm not cut out for this." But the professor reassured him, "Failure isn't the end, it's the start of learning. What matters is what you do next." Encouraged, Jorge threw himself into studying with a new vigor. He actively participated in class and spent long nights at the library. His hard work paid off, and in the next exam, he earned the top score in his department. When the professor congratulated him, Jorge grinned and said, "Well, get ready for my next failure, I'll learn even more." The room erupted in laughter, but beneath his humor lay a determination to embrace challenges. Jorge's journey inspired his peers, and he continued to face difficulties with resilience and optimism. Embrace change and move forward. In the historic town of Toledo, Rosa owned a small tapas bar, cherished for its traditional flavors. Locals loved her food, but as modern eateries catering to tourists sprang up, her sales began to decline. Her friends advised her, "Stick to your roots, changing now would ruin what makes your place special." Rosa wrestled with the decision but ultimately resolved to try something new. "Tradition alone can't build the future of this town. It's time for a fresh breeze," she declared. Rosa revamped her menu, introducing creative tapas made with locally sourced ingredients. At first, regulars scoffed, saying, "This isn't Rosa's bar anymore." She took the criticism in stride, staying true to her vision. Within weeks, tourists lined up for her innovative dishes, and soon, even her regulars began to appreciate the new menu, exclaiming, "This is surprisingly delicious." Her bar became a local attraction once more. When asked if she feared the change, Rosa smiled and said, "Of course I was scared, but staying the same was even scarier." Her bravery earned her the title of the Innovator of Toledo. Rosa's story inspired other small business owners in her town to embrace change, and she continued to delight her patrons with her boundless creativity. Knowledge is the greatest weapon. In the heart of Valencia, Elena worked as a librarian in an old library cherished by the community. Known for her love of books, people often turned to her for advice, calling her the walking encyclopedia. One day, a major dispute broke out regarding the organization of a traditional festival, with arguments erupting over its origin and rules. The organizers turned to Elena for help. Elena dived into the library's archives, poring over ancient documents. For days, she studied records until she discovered detailed descriptions of the festival's history and practices. Armed with this knowledge, she mediated between the factions, resolving the dispute. The festival proceeded as planned, honoring its true origins. "You saved the festival," the organizers said gratefully. Elena, smiling, replied, "Knowledge is a weapon, but the key is knowing when and how to use it." Her wisdom resonated with the townspeople, and the library became a hub for learning and problem solving. Elena, dubbed the Librarian Warrior, continued to help her community, showing the transformative power of knowledge. Humility supports greatness. Martin, a rising star in Bilbao's football club, basked in famous fans and the media hailed him as the next big thing. However, his growing confidence began to border on arrogance, straining his relationships with teammates. One day, Gonzalo, a veteran player, pulled him aside. "Being a star isn't wrong," Gonzalo said, But losing humility dims your light. Martin was initially offended but listened, as Gonzalo shared his own experiences of hubris and its consequences. Reflecting on this, Martin decided to change. He began showing gratitude toward his team, assisting younger players, and actively engaging with fans. This transformation earned him not only his teammates' trust, but also a higher level of performance on the field. By season's end, Martin's leadership helped the team win the league championship. During a post-match interview, when asked what brought about his change, Martin said, "Gonzalo taught me that humility is the foundation of greatness." He then jokingly added, "If I'm the star, Gonzalo is the sky that holds me up." The remark sparked laughter and applause, cementing Martin's reputation as a talented yet grounded player.